Greetings. Welcome to the first Lifekeys Devotional of 2023. In preparing for this, I had a thought that may seem strange on the first day of the year, but I want to tell you today it's all in how you finish. There's a saying that says you need to begin how you want to finish. In 1988, there was a space shuttle called the Atlantis that took off on a mission for the U.S. government. It was a trying time. There was a lot of nervousness because this was the second shuttle to take off in the wake of the Atlantis tragedy that took the lives of 7 astronauts. As they took off, everything seemed to be going well, but unbeknownst to them, only 85 seconds into liftoff, there was a piece of insulation that had come off from one of the rocket boosters, slammed into the side of the aircraft and damaged the thermal protection tiles on the way down. During the mission, they became aware of the damage they'd sustained and realized quickly without the heat shield working, it was very unlikely they'd survive their re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. The crew said their goodbyes to each other before the descent, believing they'd surely die, but somehow, some way, the remaining pieces of that heat shield held together and they touched down safely. As those astronauts disembarked, there was a huge crowd that joined them at the shuttle, staring in disbelief at the amount of damage that had been done to the Atlantis. One of the supervisors shook his head, remarking they'd surely escaped death by only a hair's breadth and had somehow still come in for a perfect landing. You see, this flight could be broken into 3 clear sections. Section 1 was the takeoff, which had been rougher than expected. The damage had occurred at an early point in the journey, greatly affecting the remainder of the voyage. Section 2 was the flight itself, which had been greatly troubled because of the damage done to the shuttle. Things just hadn't gone as smoothly as they'd expected. And part number 3, of course, was the landing. A landing which, despite all their projections, all their fears, all their worries, despite the very real danger and the damage done to the aircraft, a landing that had gone perfectly. You see, it's all in how you finish. You can use these same parallels in a human life. We see a grave which has a headstone showing these same things, a birth or a launch, a dash, which is your journey of life, and a death, which is your landing. It's been said that entrances are brief, but exits are eternal. Even Jesus said in Matthew 24:13, "But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved." I want to give somebody hope today that in the morning of your life you may have messed up. In the noonday you may have done some things you're not proud of or pleased with. And the sun is beginning to sink low in the sky of your life, but there's still time to make things right. Things don't have to end this way. I speak of your life or your marriage, your visions for your life, your dream, your goals for the future, your purpose in the kingdom of God. You may have had some trouble, but you cannot allow temporary trouble to determine how you finish your race. I would tell you of John the Revelator, John who was boiled in oil, who was banished to Patmos. But John said, I'm not going to let it end this way, but I'm going to get in the Spirit on the Lord's day. I'm not going to end burnt. I'm not going to end bitter. I'm not going to allow loneliness to destroy me, but I'm going to get in the Spirit. I might have some seasons where I'm hurting in the flesh, but I'm going to end things in the Spirit. I'd tell you of a man by the name of Samson who said, I might be bound, I might be bruised, I might be blind, but just one more time, Lord, if you'll let me feel your Spirit. I might be trapped in a Philistine prison, but somehow I believe that God still hears my prayer. It can't end this way. I won't let this be the finale. I won't let this be the conclusion of my life, but I believe God will hear me one more time and it won't end this way. I'd tell you of a thief hanging on a cross beside Jesus who recognized the Messiah and said, Lord, remember me when you come into your kingdom. What was this thief saying? Well, he was saying, I may have messed up in the morning. I might have messed up at noon and not lived my life the way I should have. But here at the very sunset, I can't let things end this way. He's at the finish line, but he believes by the grace of God, he can still have a perfect finish. As the crew of the Atlantis prepared to land, there were many different emotions that were clouding their thinking. They'd all seen the videos of the Challenger. They knew the horrible death that was likely awaiting them when the heat shield failed. The crew of the Atlantis believed that some circumstances that had occurred on their flight had condemned them to a failed landing. They believed that the damage they sustained had doomed them. You got to understand today, you may be damaged, but you're not destined to fail just because of things that have happened to you. If you'll change your course and change your mindset, you can still finish well. The crew of the Atlantis knew that space shuttles essentially become unpowered gliders on descent. They had one chance at landing. There are no do-overs in life. You're not promised tomorrow, but the writer of Ecclesiastes said, "As the tree falleth, so shall it lie." We know that how you land is how you'll spend eternity. One man described the Atlantis like this: it was a perfect landing for an imperfect flight. Friend, you may have sustained a lot of damage in your flight, in your race, in your life, but you can still have a perfect landing. Hebrews 12:1 says, "Wherefore, seeing we are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and the finisher of our faith." I want to tell you, Jesus stands at the finish line of your life, beckoning you and telling you, you can make it. He is the author. He is the finisher. He is the master of the perfect ending. Ecclesiastes 7:8 says, "Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof." I wish you a wonderful day today. I wish you a wonderful beginning to this new year. But don't forget, it's all in how you finish. God bless you.